Dubey sir, you can unmute and start introducing guests.
Okay. Good morning, friends. Nice to be back this morning. Our speaker today is Mr. Pradeep Prakash. Some of us know him very well, but for those who don't have the opportunity to meet him, I'll briefly introduce Pradeep ji. But before I do that, the theme on which he'll be talking to us is life transforming insights of J. Krishnamurti's teachings. Pradeep ji has a close to 34 years of work experience that includes teaching, sales, marketing, manufacturing, entrepreneurship, and behavioral training, and consulting after graduating in engineering and management. He has been involved in training of thousands of executives from all the leading names in India and multinationals operating in India. He has successfully executed number of organizations, wide cultural change initiatives in pharma, especially GBP, which is good behavioral practice paradigm for pharmaceutical companies, power and environmental sectors, leading to massive transformations and business turnarounds. He has developed some very valuable psychometric instruments for recruitment and personality assessment. His expertise in this field is widely used by a variety of organizations for improving the quality of their recruitment. Besides running assessment and development centers for their employees. Moreover, he has also developed some instruments for niche areas like investors and traders, where psychological qualities are of great importance in success. He has authored 2 books on human processes and self-empowerment, namely Knock and the Door Shall Be Opened and Psychology of Joy. Also, he has authored one novel, Shreya, the Blossoming of a Kashmiri Pandit Girl, which has been widely appreciated in professional and lay and written various articles on behavioral learning and growth. His expertise in sales training, empowerment, group dynamics, achievement, motivation, leadership, stress management, and EQ programs is well known. He was a board member of premier organization of behavioral scientists in India, namely Indian Society for Applied Behavioral Sciences, from January 2007 till March 2010. He is passionate about discovery and spread of human processes through writing and training, spiritual growth of self and others, and contributing meaningfully in making this world a better place to live. With this theme, I want to thank Pradeep ji for accepting our request and being with us today for this talk. And I also want to extend a very warm welcome to him. And since, sir, you are aware of our processes, so I'll not elaborate on that. You can take as long as you want, but leave at least
45 minutes.
20, yes, for people to ask questions. Yes. So you can begin now.
First of all, right now I'm feeling grateful that nature has provided, and through Sushil ji, this opportunity to the speaker to share his understanding, which is his passion. So I'm feeling right now very grateful, and I hope that this time that we are spending together will be really helpful to each one of us. So I don't believe in speaking too many words. I wish that this time that we spend is an experiential understanding of. I can convey it experientially rather than intellectually. So that is my hope and wish. Okay, there are so many life transforming insights given by Krishna ji, and how they have impacted the speaker and how he has used them to make his life free from suffering. Well, if you ask speaker, he would say that the most important value for him right now at this stage of life, and maybe from the very childhood, was the freedom and happiness Happiness is, I think there's not even a single person right now in this group or anywhere in this world which is not sought by any living creature. So this life can be summed up in just one word: pursuit of happiness and avoidance of suffering or pain. This seems to be the very simplest way to explain what this life is for most of the living creatures. That they are just seeking happiness, sensory happiness, or intellectual happiness, or spiritual happiness, or whatever that may be. So the theme for all of us, unconsciously or consciously, is seeking happiness, joy, and freedom from suffering and pain. So, in that context, with this context, what insights shared by Krishna ji has been of tremendous help to uh, speaker. So I have some few very important ones. So in which order they come, let me see. The first one that I want to talk is of timelessness. Now, Krishna ji has often talked of this timelessness, time, and the way he speaks, but the way Pradeep understands a little different. How everyone comes to know that time is passing. See, this question I would like to ask, but since most of you are mute, I would like to answer it myself. There is a constant change happening, and you get to know that time is passing through the change. The sun has risen, the light is more, the sun is setting, the darkness comes. So all this, there's a change is happening, and therefore we are noticing the time. For example, this body has changed from being the body of a little child to that of a 60-year-old person. The hair has gone and come gray, the body has, grown fat, and all kinds of changes have happened in this body. So it's a change. Right now, also, from the beginning, you introduced me, and right now the speaker is speaking. So there's a change happening. Because of this change, we know the time is passing, right? Now, I hope all of you are with me in this, that we sense time through change. Now, if there is no change in time, if if everything freezes, the whole universe freezes forever for say 100 years. It just freezes at this moment right now, and after 100 years, again it starts functioning. Then those 100 years, will we know that 100 years have passed? Because no change has happened. Since no change had happened, the time is finished. There is time is because of change. Now, if I say, okay, right now, you say assume right now, or believe, or imagine, or experience, or whatever is your capacity according to that. Imagine that nothing ever happens to you. You remain the same, changeless. Nothing will ever happen to you right now. Imagine, or believe, or think, or believe, or know. It's up to you. Your capacity, where you are, whether you know it, whether you want to believe it. I would like you to believe it, or you can imagine it, that nothing ever happens to you. Just you remain the same forever and ever. What is the feeling? Suddenly you will enter the eternity. Suddenly there is the peace. Suddenly the entire what I call the drama, the pain, the everything ceases, and you enter the eternity. So is it then next question is there some part of you? Are you in touch with all the parts of yourself? And is there some part of you which is not changing? So I'm sure most of you understand that there is one part of you which does not change, and that is awareness, that is witnessing consciousness, that is drishta, that is choiceless awareness. That is not changing. That is eternal. Because it is not changing, it is eternal. So as soon as you enter into this changeless awareness, choiceless awareness, this drishta bhav, this sakshi bhav, or whatever you name you want to call it, you are eternal. You are peace. Nothing ever happens to you. The fire cannot burn you. The water cannot wet you. The air cannot dry you. and the death cannot kill you. Can you experience it right now? I mean, I'm not talking theory. I don't want it to be intellectual process. Can you experience it? That's it. Is this experientially possible right now? It is possible. It is true. It is a reality. So that changeless part of you is the reality. You imagine you as a child, as an adult, as a working function, and sitting right now as a whatever your age is. Not there is one part of you. Nothing ever has happened to it, and nothing ever will happen to it. That is choiceless awareness. That is eternity. That is love. That is awakening. That is enlightenment, and that is so simple. What's so complicated about it? Nothing, right? No, the complicated part is we cannot, we get into ignorance, slip into ignorance again and again. Now, here comes another concept, another understanding. At night, when we are dreaming right now, and at night, when we are going to sleep, and suddenly we go into dream, and we dream all kinds of dreams, sometimes frightening, sometimes giving delight, sometimes sexual fantasies, all kinds of dreams are happening. When the dream is happening, at that moment, is it a reality for you? The feelings are real happening to you, or is it a dream for you at that moment? At that moment, it is not a dream, it's a reality. You are actually experiencing the fear, the joy, or whatever, the suffering. Or mostly, it is a negative, painful process because it's a cathartic release. At that moment, you experience, but suddenly, you wake up. Suddenly, speaker wakes up. Oh, nothing ever has happened to me. It was only a dream. And there is a sigh of relief that, oh, I have not, my son has not met with an accident and died. Oh, he is alive. This all was a dream. Nothing has happened to him. And this body wakes up and, oh, nothing has happened. Thank God, it's all well. Nothing has changed. It was just a dream. So, similarly, when this body dies actually in this world, and you realize, oh, nothing has happened to me. I remain the same, changeless. Nothing has happened. All that was bloody dream. So if it happens after death, I'm saying it. This is imagination that it happens after death. But right now you realize this is the reality. Nothing ever happens to me, and this is a dream. Then you realize the dreamlike nature of this world. Then this world is a dream for you. And who suffers in this dream? The ego suffers in this dream, right? Now I come to another beautiful insight of Krishna. Now he says that awakening of intelligence. Now, what is awakening of intelligence? My understanding of awakening of intelligence, the speaker's understanding of awakening of intelligence, capacity to see the hidden processes behind this show of word, this human behavior, this life. There are hidden processes happening. The ego is to understand there's an ego operating, to understand there's suffering, to understand. These are all is a subtle processes, a capacity to see these processes. Whatever Krishnamurti ji shares, it that is the capacity to see. He's seeing it and he's sharing it. That is the capacity I'm talking. The capacity to see the behavioral processes which are happening. That is our intelligence. So that capacity to see. Now, when that capacity to see awakens, what happens? Many things happen, but I would focus on some. You see the ego. You see that the ego is suffering. The ego is afraid. The ego is feeling vulnerable, sad. The ego is feeling miserable. Ego is feeling pride. Ego is feeling delight. Ego is feeling jealousy. Ego is feeling, depression. All kinds of experiences are of the ego. But if ego is so much pain, why you don't drop it? Why it doesn't drop? It's a painful thing. Na? We don't want pain. We want happiness. Why it doesn't drop? It does not drop because all the happiness also is through ego. I have topped. I am. I am a rich man. I have got this house. I have this car. I am a chief secretary, I am the prime minister, I am the president. So all that happiness also comes from ego. So if you want to get rid of the suffering of the ego, then you have to get rid of the happiness also. Because we are stuck to, we are attached to happiness. So we have to, by force, this is the reverse, the flip side of the coin. You have to go through all this suffering also. So if you let go, you let go both. You can't let go only the painful part. You'll have to let go the delightful part of ego also. Now the question is, why some people ego just drops and some people are not? What is it that they see which others don't see? Now let me share with you two processes which are there. One is this concept of loss aversion. Loss aversion is an economic concept which says that the pain of 50 rupees loss is much more than the gain of 50 rupees. It may be equal to more gain of two. Only the gain of 500 rupees or 300 rupees will compensate for the pain of 50 rupees. So the loss of 50 rupees is much more than the gain of 50 rupees. So loss aversion. This means even if ego, how this is being connected, I'm sharing with you. That means the happiness that ego gets has to get 5 times more happiness to compensate for the pain that ego gets because of the losses and fears and psychological things. That is one perception. That's one clarity with which you see this part. There's a much more pain, suffering of pain is much more than the joy of ego. Uh, that is the one part that you have to see. So when that clarity, you see it with that. And second is the concept of addiction, the variable reinforcement. This I'm bringing from psychology. Variable reinforcement is you are doing the same activity, but sometimes you are rewarded and sometimes you are not rewarded. So it's sometimes you are reinforced, sometimes you are not reinforced. For example, somebody is begging. So what happens? Somebody gives him the money and 7-8% don't give him, 2-3% give him. So it's a variable reinforcement. Sometimes he's getting the elements and sometimes he is not getting. This is addictive. They say variable reinforcement is addictive. Similarly, in stock market traders, they are addicted because sometimes they get the profit, most of the time they get the losses. So they become addicted. Similarly, ego is also an addiction. Sometimes you get happiness, but most of the time you are getting unhappiness. But this is a variable reinforcement. This is addictive. Gambling. You are gambling. The life is a gamble. Gamble in the sense that we are all gamblers. We are addicted to happiness because it's a variable reinforcement. So you have to go into de-addiction center from ego. So these two concepts when combined together. When you see this very clearly, when you see the suffering of something, it drops. That requires intelligence, that requires the capacity to see. The moment you see, even if you see right now, can you right now see your suffering, your fears? Right now, see it, please. Your fears, your vulnerability. Anytime any disease can come, anytime something can happen to your children, anytime something can happen to your health, anytime a huge pain can arise in the body. See the vulnerability, the suffering, the possibility is there in the human ego. The moment you see this suffering, and then you see this gambling addiction, and then you see this loss aversion, what happens? You don't have to drop the ego. The ego drops it. If you drop the ego, then the dropper still remains. Another question is if the ego drops, some amount of ego is required to survive in this world. So the total ego will never drop. Even Krishnamurti ji had a lot of ego. I see him in the picture. Somebody told him something, he gets angry also. So ego remains because to survive in this world, ego is required. Otherwise, you will die. So this insight, this understanding will make humble. It makes the person humble. The ego will lose its hold and the humility will be born and freedom will ensue. So this is requires awakening of intelligence, this capacity to see this entire process. This is what Krishna ji says, the transformation, and it happens suddenly when you this flash of insight and this continues, and you are able, you have this capacity to see it all the time. And then what will be your attitude? With which attitude you will live? You see, all the great states, this is jo ho jaye. Whatever may happen is accepted. There is no demand of the ego. This should happen, that should happen, this should happen. But no expectation. Jo ho jaye. Even Krishna ji has said it. You know, or you read, you hear him often. He has said it for me. Jo ho jaye. This is how I interpreted it. I hope if I'm wrong, please correct me. आनंदमय माँ जो हो जाए. I have met saints. The सहज अवस्था जो हो जाए. That is the state they live in there. There's no demand of the ego. It should happen like this. It should happen like this. Total surrender to the intelligence of life which is governing. Uh, okay, so I have some more. So this is the second transformative insight that I want to share. The third one. Krishna ji has said it beautifully. I don't know how many of us really understand that the change happens now and not in the future. He has often said it. Last time I was hearing Gopalan also here. He was also saying that Krishna ji has said it. The people, I really wonder if people understand what is the meaning of change happens now and not in the future. And what is change? What is the process of change? The process of change I have shared. The moment you see it, the flash, the moment you see it, the ego drops. That's a sudden change at the right now. It is not happening in the future. Now the question is, most of the time we say, okay, I will reduce my weight, or I will quit smoking, or I will stop getting angry, or I will. So the change will happen slowly, gradually. No, change will not happen slowly, gradually. The moment insight happens, the way you process the feelings change in the here and now. And therefore, the change happens right now. Even right now, if you see right now, if you see this ego's process fully clearly right now, as the speaker was sharing, the change is happening right now. The suffering you're seeing right now, and it drops, and there is a freedom. The reward is freedom, tremendous freedom. So that is these three things I wanted to share about transformative insight. There are many more. We can continue on this, but I won't. Barrage with a lot of stuff. That's enough for it. There's there's another question that I'm asking. On your behalf, I'm asking the speaker itself. That, when you know all this, buddy, what is the quality of your life? तुम बच चुके हो क्या? Is there no unhappiness in your life? Are you not suffering? Well, this is the question. The speaker is asking on behalf of the audience, not speaker himself. That means, what is the quality of your life? Are you free? Well, the answer. Let me tell you that this is the speaker is in the half awake, half sleep. So therefore, this struggle continues. Sometimes he's very free. Sometimes he's caught in the ignorance, in the dream. He loses in the sleep of dream. Sometimes he awakens, but most of the time he's awake. So there is much less suffering. There is suffering is there. There are conflicts. बीवी से झगड़ा भी हो जाता है कभी 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 फियर भी लगता है कभी पैसे कमाने के लालच में वो काम भी करता है सब कुछ करता है वो तो वो लेकिन काफी होल्ड कम है काफी हद तक फ्री है this is the one part. Then what is the practice or what I think the only thing that each one of us can do, and that is what the speaker is all the time, is just be aware and wakeful and mindful of it all the time. That's it. Nothing has to be done. चाहे आप उसको राम राम कह के कर लो awaken हो जाओ हरी हरी बोलो नाम ले लो कुछ बोलो it's up to you. Though Krishna ji never accepted this technique of name and all that, or you just be aware and awaken all the moment, every moment. Choiceless witnessing is that's all. Nothing else to be done. No desire for enlightenment. Nothing. No such thing. So that state of continuous watchfulness is the only practice which is there for a speaker, and that's what he advocates and says. Whether you use it by calling the name of God, or by saying "Jo ho jaye," or by reminding, be mindful, whatever. So all the time watch. Now, what happens if you keep on watching as a witness? What happens? you keep on learning the processes, you keep on awakening your intelligence, you keep on becoming free, because these are unconscious processes, and as long as they remain unconscious, they have a tremendous hold on you. They keep you ignorant, they keep you suffering. So the more awakened you become, the more you understand these processes, the more free you become. And that's it. So just keep awakening. That is all is my uh, I know people don't change by just telling them you do this, they won't do it, or give them insight, they don't happen. If it were happening, then so each one has to walk his path, and that's it. So my wish is that let each one of us walk the path and be a light into ourselves through wakefulness and watchfulness and mindfulness and remembering God. God is awakening awareness. So with this good wish, I would like to close here. It's a half an hour. I think 25 minutes is spoken. This is more than enough. And there are a lot of enlightened people sitting here. Let them enlighten to all of us. And please open the house for comments, questions, statements, observations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep ji. Very interesting. I saw lots of similarity between what Krishna says, and you have also brought in Vedanta into it, which makes it very interesting. But I think in the end, you have summed it up very well when you said that constant watching yourself, that is what brings about, you can call it a change or whatever. I think
Right.
telling you with my own experience, I can tell you that being with teachings for a very, very long time, and testing myself at every moment, whether teachings are doing anything to me or not, I see that I have not changed at all. But as you said, anytime a negative emotion comes, the awareness comes just behind it and tells me to look at myself, with the result that the impact of those emotions get drastically reduced. Not that I don't get angry, but something comes and tells me that you are getting angry now. Watch yourself. I think that is one thing which I have gained by reading or being with Krishna for a very long time. So I think the key to what you talked about is, the religion has talked about it a great deal in different ways, about Sakshi and all those things. Uh, unless I see that deeply inside me, it doesn't make any difference in my life. But you have very rightly said and summed up that you have to be aware as much as possible. If that awareness can become a part of your life,
Right.
life will become easy. Uh,
Yes.
I think quite a few people have raised hands. We'll start with Harshad Bhai and then go to Arun Partha. Yes, Harshad Bhai, please unmute yourself.
Yes, are you able to hear?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dubey ji, and thank you, Pradeep ji. I like the title which you have given, Life Transforming Insight. And like when we study history, we say Buddha was 500, 600 years before Christ. And then after Christ, so we divide the time history before Christ and after Christ. Similarly, if I have to tell something about my life, I would say there was my life before Krishnamurti. And then after Krishnamurti, I feel a different person. So what happened is that when I was reading Krishnamurti book, and then he said that what we call this I or me or ego, it is a product of thinking. And when this ego or self or thinker or observer comes, then there's a duality between thinker and thought. And then all our problems of psychological nature is because of this duality, that this sense of I or me is separate from thinking. So this was something very new to me. I had studied Vedanta and other Ramakrishna and many other people, but something here, what I read, it made me curious to look at my own thinking. And when, with all awareness, when I try to look at the beginning of a thought, there was some kind of silence, nothing happening. And in that, it was something, a different state altogether, what Krishnaji would call choiceless awareness, in which the thoughts are not there, but only pure awareness. So I think one insight is enough to, and that insight is really seen clearly, not through thinking, not a intellectually insight, but when it is seen, then naturally it changes the quality of our life. And that is what happened to me. And I began to be more and more curious about my inner world, and some changes started happening within the body. And then there is a different way of looking at nature, a different way of looking at human beings, the colors and shape, and what Krishnaji calls beauty. So uh, some kind of newness started happening in my life by just reading the book. And later on, of course, after several years in the presence of Krishnamurti, something else happened, and that brought me to Krishnamurti schools. So I would say, yes, the only one insight is enough, and that can transform our life. And then all other insights, we can easily say, yes, what Krishnaji says is quite obvious. It is true. Now, I like to make a comment about what Pradeepji said about timelessness. So there is a timelessness in a psychological sense, like when a person is in meditation, may not feel the time, but the chronological time still remains, and the breathing and the body grows old. So chronological time does not stop. And so when we talk about timelessness in philosophy, it is about the psychological time. And when we say the fire does not burn, fire will burn our body, of course, because we are still living in chronological time. So we are affected, even Krishna ji, everybody, even if our mind is very clear, we all grow old and we die. So we cannot escape from chronological time. So that is what I want to say. Okay, I think that is enough right now. Thank you.
Okay, let me make two comments. Uh, the first one is that the beauty of all such persons like Krishna ji or other such enlightened person is that they transform our life by changing the direction of instead of looking at outside world and outside achievements, they turn our direction inside and look at our own selves and awareness and all that. That is the, I think, the major role of most of the sages. You have to walk your path, and the only thing is the direction is changed. So the direction from outside achievement to inside. So that is what you shared, Harsh. And the second, Harsh, and the second point about timelessness, let me add here. This is the often I use it when there is any disturbance comes in my life. I said, or fear or imaginary anxiety comes. I move get into timelessness. It's very easy to move into timelessness. So this is not a theory for me. So this is the technique. Okay, nothing ever happens to me. I remain the same. Whatever happens, happens. So this is I actually use it to bring myself in the here and now. So it's a technique also, and not just concept for me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Arunji, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Sir, generally, if you see, since we've come from the technology side and all that, we always look in for some kind of, our mind is always inclined to look in for some kind of processes. So even in your dialogue, I could hear that word commonly, very commonly uttered, And you had also mentioned about the awakening of intelligence, where you told that there should be a capacity to see the hidden processes behind.
Yeah.
Ji, when he speaks that the process itself, no, it implies a very.
There's some problem with your audio, Arunji. We are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I begin from the first?
No.
Where did I stop?
We lost. I think we lost about a minute or so of your talk. So you can maybe start from the beginning. That would be a good idea.
No, you
Okay.
said that Pradeep has said awakening of intelligence is seeing the processes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Krishna is also talking about
Okay. So so process and all that. But I think what happens is when we listen to Krishnaji's talks and all that, generally in our brain also, we tend to try to make it as following a series of steps to achieve something. I think, but Krishnaji is kind of unique, where he speaks that it is like process always implies time. So he talks about some state where you go beyond that. So that is what I could say. So your talk was more of a Krishnaji was also there, but I think the technology brain, which we normally use, also was being applied. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, Arun, there's one comment I would like to make that's on what you said. Whenever the awakened people speak, the mind comes to the standstill. And whenever an average person speaks, the mind is lost in thoughts and all that kind of stuff. So I would like you to say experience. How was it for you? Did your mind become here and now, came in the here and now, or was it lost in some cognitive connections? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Verma Sahab, you want to make a comment, sir?
प्रदीप जी आप क्यों चुप हैं? आप भी कुछ बोलिए वर्मा साहब.
I can say thank you very much, Pradeep. Your clarity is pretty good, Not many questions came after listening to you. Pretty clear you are in whatever. But the only thing is, since your whole life has been in memory and mechanics, and then economics also part of behavioral science. So does it go well? Does it gel very well with so-called spirituality? No, it's the same thing. There is no difference. No discernment into non-living, living, and that mechanics which you have been all through. You are an engineer anyway. So can you commune with mechanical? You have developed, I think, certain psychometric tests to find the potential in some of those recruits. And how do you do that? How do you commune with these people through mechanical gadgets? This was a small question. There's not much you can respond to it, sir. Thank you.
Pradeep, I'm not sure whether the speaker will be able to answer you exactly what you're asking, but the one thought which has struck in him is that, he studies processes, behavioral processes, and also sees the life and economic processes, business processes, and how businesses are. He has one very beautiful insight, and that is that this life is governed by extremely intelligent forces, extremely kind, extremely good, extremely wonderful. The processes are so beautifully designed, human processes, business processes, life processes, economic processes. So the Pradeep differs very strongly from Krishna ji on this aspect of pessimism, crisis in life. He doesn't believe in all that. He says life is fantastic. If you look at 50 years ago, how Pradeep was living and how he's living today, his life is better than what Akbar, the Shahanshah of India, was living. He's living all the time in air-conditioned houses, he travels in air-conditioned car. He can travel from here to Bangalore in 2 hours. Akbar could not do this. Akbar could not talk to his brother in America in free immediately in the time and now. So the facilities that an ordinary person like Pradeep enjoys now is 100 times better than what Shahanshah of India Akbar enjoyed once. And therefore humanity is progressing tremendously. There's a human intelligence, there's a universal intelligence which is extremely good, extremely kind, extremely nice. There is nothing evil in this world, sir. Nothing evil in this world. It's a guaranteed. This is fully controlled by this intelligence which is governing. And whatever seems as evil is a misinterpretation. Whatever seems crisis is a misinterpretation. The life is teaching, in evolving, learning. It's a creative show of the word. That's it.
Thank you. Ravi Kaushal, yes, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. One thing, Pradeep ji, you said that some ego is required, and most of the part of the ego one can, ego drops, but some ego is required for living. Kind of.
Yes.
So I'm saying that I don't think so. This is correct thing, a correct way of saying. I think when the ego is not there, the intelligence take over.
Uh-huh.
And then there is no question whether the Krishnamurti is angry or not. Even if the Krishnamurti is angry, it is still love. Only love operates. Like the father, when he get angry on his son, is he really angry, or is because of his love? So this love has different language, not like that, and you cannot put that thing. You cannot give the any conceptual kind of thing. मतलब आप ego के बारे में, on ego you are saying that awareness is required and all that, all the things which you are giving now, that language doesn't work from there. These languages are of the thought. Thought is a very subtle thing, very subtle. And the timeless, that how can you do that? The move in timeless and then not in timeless. Is it really you when the timelessness is there?
No.
So these are the things I see that, and that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ravi, thank you for saying what you have said. I think you're putting Krishna ji on the pedestal and seeing him as an authority and not as a human being. So that's how this is how it landed. My interpretation of what you said is that one. Secondly, when I say that ego remains, is like सांप और रस्सी. वो जो ईगो, इग्नोरेंस की ईगो है वो सांप है, और जब अंडरस्टैंडिंग और अवेकनिंग ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस हो जाती है तो वो रस्सी हो जाती है. दिस इज समथिंग सिमिलर टू दैट. So anyway, let's stop there. That's it.
Thank you. Yes, Harshad bhai.
Yes. Is my voice coming?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. To see the ego arising, or even the thought arising, to see it clearly as it is, one needs freedom. And then even if the ego arises, if it is seen, it doesn't do any damage. One can say, yes, ego exists, but it is a harmless ego when it is seen clearly. But when this awareness is not there and the ego arises, and then it complicates, then it can lead to anger, fear, jealousy, all that negative reactions will come when it is not seen. But when this ego is seen as it is, then it doesn't do any damage. And there's some kind of stable equilibrium is there when there's this awareness. That means, it doesn't mean that you don't get disturbed. suddenly something comes to you, and even psychologically, you may get disturbed, but immediately that seeing happens and you come back to the stable equilibrium. So there may not be total freedom, but there is the ability to see clearly whatever is happening. Even if the anger is arising, it can be seen in this ongoing effortless awareness. And without that, the problems multiply, and it can lead to a lot of damage to the mind and the body both. Okay, I've finished. Thank you.
I fully endorse Harshad ji what you're saying. I'm fully 100% with you on this.
Hmm.
सुशील जी आप भी कुछ बोल दीजिए.
कोई शेर ही सुना दीजिए कोई.
ऐसा बोलने से ध्यान नहीं आता कभी भी. कोई चलती है बात तो ध्यान आता है. वैसे काफी क्लैरिटी थी आपके बोलने में, और ह्यूमन पार्ट ज्यादा था. ऐसा कोई पार्ट नहीं था जो कोई बहुत हायर चेतना का हो, ऐसा नहीं लगा. मतलब कहीं भी मेरे को पूरी थ्रू आउट स्पीच में यही लगता रहा कि ये जो वट एवर ही इज सेइंग दैट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम यू, नॉट फ्रॉम कृष्णमूर्ति. नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स आई ऑब्जर्व दिस. एंड सेकेंडली, मैं खुद भी ये मानता हूँ, माय फुल जो मेरा खुद सोचना पूरा ये है, वो यही है कि बेसिकली जब अपन चैतन्य होते हैं, जब भी अपन देखो, अपनी दो ही स्थिति होती है, या तो अपन मैकेनिकल होते हैं या चैतन्य होते हैं. जब चैतन्य होते हैं तो ईगो बराबर नुकसान नहीं करता है. बाकी ईगो नहीं होता है ऐसी तो कोई स्टेज किसी की नहीं देखी मैंने. ईगो तो सभी के साथ है. बाकी जब सीन हो जाता है, जब दिख जाता है, नॉन वर्बल सीइंग उसकी हो जाती है, तो काफी फर्क अपने जीवन में आता है. मेरी लाइफ में तो जो भी मैं हूँ वो कृष्णमूर्ति की वजह से हूँ, ऐसा मुझे लगा है हमेशा. एवरी टाइम आई फेल्ट दैट इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ कृष्णमूर्ति ओनली. जैसा भी समझ में आया, जब भी समझ में आया, कभी गलत भी समझ में आया तो भी मेरे को उतना ही अच्छा लगा जितना अच्छा मुझे सही समझ में आने के बाद लगा. मेरे को इनसाइट्स में बस सिर्फ ये है कि इनसाइट जो है वो गड़बड़ करती है हमेशा. इनसाइट आपको थोड़ा ऐसा बताती है कि आप कुछ हायर लेवल पे हो, जबकि ऐसा होता नहीं है जरा भी. इनसाइट भी नेचुरल है. जैसे अगर अभी अपन कभी गौर से देखें, करो जो गौर तो यहाँ नहीं है कोई और आप कभी भी देखोगे तो ये लगेगा कि इनसाइट की वजह से आप दूसरों से अपने को अलग मान ले, सेपरेटिव मानते हो, जबकि है नहीं. इनसाइट भी एडिक्टिव है. अगर आप बहुत गौर से देखेंगे तो जब भी आपको कोई इंसाइट होती है तो उसके साथ अभिमान भी आ जाता है. तो वो जरा सा संभलने की जगह है, संभलने की भी जगह है और संभाल की भी जरूरत है उसमें, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. बाकी आपसे प्रेम शुरू से ही है और अच्छा लगा मेरे को सुन के. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर.
थैंक यू सुशील जी. आपने अच्छा बोला कि इनसाइट भी अभिमान को जन्म देती है.
दैट्स 100%.
ये बहुत अच्छा बोला
दैट्स
आपने.
100%. जब भी आपको आएगा तब आपको ये लगेगा कि आप अलग हो, जबकि इनसाइट नेचुरल है, सभी को होती है.
वैसे एक इसके साथ मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगा कि सबसे ज्यादा खुशी, एक्साइटमेंट तब होती है स्पीकर को, प्रदीप को, जब वो कुछ इंसाइट करता है. ईगो की बात तो छोड़ दीजिए, वो पता नहीं, मुझे बोलूंगा नहीं. लेकिन लाइफ की सबसे हैप्पीनेस का इवेंट वो होता है जब एक अच्छी इंसाइट होती है, सडनली फ्रीडम का फीलिंग. दैट्स फॉर माय फ्रॉम हाउ आई एक्सपीरियंस इंसाइट.
जब प्रदीप को दुख होता है तब कुछ नहीं होता.
क्या क्या प्रदीप को जब दुख होता है,
दुख होता है तो क्या होता है?
दुख होता है तो वो तो तड़पता है और उसको मालूम होता है कि ये उसकी ईगो अवेयरनेस हो जाती है, ये बेटा तेरी ईगो है जो तेरे को दुख दे रही है, कोई और दुख नहीं.
वो उस केस में भी इंसाइट जो ईगो दिखाई तो देती है और सघन रूप से दिखाई देती है. जैसे उस ईगो सघन जब ही होती है जब दुख में दुख देती है. मेरी लाइफ में जरा भी ऐसा नहीं रहा, मैं कभी भी दुखी नहीं रहा हूँ, मेरे को कभी भी कोई परेशानी नहीं आई है. अब मैं सिर्फ एक्सीडेंटल मानता हूँ इसको.
Yeah.
बाकी कृष्णमूर्ति को मैं सौभाग्य मानता हूँ मेरा। Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Ravi Kaushal ji, please. Go ahead.
शेरो शायरी की बात चली थी तो मैंने हाथ उठा दिया। तो मुझे एक्चुअली शेरो शायरी का बहुत शौक भी है। तो वो मेरे को अच्छे लगते हैं जो प्रेम पर होते हैं, जैसे खुसरो दरिया इश्क का उल्टी वातीदार, जो उभरा सो डूब गया, जो डूबा सो पार। एक और खुसरो का मुझे बहुत पसंद है कि खुसरो बाजी प्रेम की, मैं खेलूं पी के संग, जीत गई तो पिया मोरे, हारी पी के संग, पी मतलब मास्टर।
Very nice.
तो वो इसलिए मैं बोल सॉरी कि मैंने आउट ऑफ द कंटेक्स्ट बोल दिया। तो क्योंकि शेर शायरी में थोड़ा ज्यादा वो हो जाता हूँ, एक्साइटेड सा हो जाता हूँ। डिडंट स्टॉप माय सेल्फ। और एक और चीज, यस सर,
मैंने कहा सही तो बोला, डूबे तो पार होते हैं। सही तो बोला।
तो डूबना सर पूरा डूबना होता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि आधा अधूरा ईगो रख लेंगे। और दूसरी बात ये थी कि ना, एक चीज है कि ना हम बहुत बात करते हैं अवेयरनेस की ना, एंड आई सी दैट द अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ अवेयरनेस इज नॉट अवेयरनेस। एनी अंडरस्टैंड, वो क्या है कि ना हमारा माइंड ना किसी भी चीज को अंडरस्टैंड करता है ना, उसको उसी मोमेंट में वो उसे कंसेप्चुलाइज कर देता है, तो वो चीज ना माइंड के फ्रेमवर्क में आ जाती है। तो जैसे ही आप अवेयरनेस को समझ लेते हैं ना, तो आपके ब्रेन के पास अब वो, क्योंकि वो ब्रेन के पास एक सिस्टम है चीजों को कंसेप्चुलाइज करने का, तो उसे वो कंसेप्चुलाइज कर देता है। तो अवेयरनेस को कभी भी थॉट छू नहीं पाता इसीलिए। तो ये एक चीज है। तो आई सी दैट एनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ अवेयरनेस इज नॉट अवेयरनेस एक्चुअली।
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Durga ji.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning,
morning.
Mr. Pradeep, Prakash. It's interesting that, today the conversations and the main speaker also is switching over to Hindi. That's more comfortable. And Sushil Kumar Jain's comments I really liked. Sir, you made a very valuable points, Sushil Kumar, sir. Especially when you said that, Abhiman bhi aa jata hai. Yeah, that's very, very important point, sir. Sir, what I want to say is, we're all sharing our understanding, and I think even previous speaker Ravi Kaushal also has given one more very valuable point, that is, your mind conceptualizing something is not understanding. That's a very valid point he said. And Mr. Prakash, you have brought all the fundamental statements of Krishnamurti, and you just wanted to just explain away the way you understood and all that. And sir, I have to tell you, maybe you just, your mind just wants to give some meaning to that and adapt them into your own life. And you don't want to trouble yourself from your comfort zone. So, and you just, not only you made the statements they are the fundamental truths to you, and you're explaining them also away, because that means you never doubted them, questioned them, and whether you not doubted your own self. Because अगर किसी को doubt करना है तो our own intelligence, our own awareness levels को मतलब question करना है, doubt करना है. Only when you're doubting, when you're questioning, you're learning new things. And your last summarized point is, constant awareness, watchfulness, of course. And Dubey ji also has placed that point. There is no denying that. We have to be constant watchfulness. And sir, there is one more element that we all have to, impart in our own selves, that is listening and learning. And I'm very glad that you are listening very patiently, and you are attracting, humbly very requesting people to talk to you and express themselves also. You are interested in listening also from others' point of view. And I think learning also happens because, sir, I feel when you have, defined something and put that in your mind, and you thought that, okay, this is what it is, and you're so very sure of it, that means you're blocking your own understanding levels to, blossom and evolve further. Because learning is a constant process. Till the moment you are on the deathbed, life has so much to offer, so many deeper insights to offer, maybe by just putting all these concepts in our head. And maybe it's a very presumptuous on your part also, think that, you have become somebody else, because I feel The more you understand, the more grounded you become, and you know what you are. That is what is. That doesn't mean that you stop identifying yourself and you become somebody else. So that maybe you have to question yourself. Is it presumptuous on my part to think that I have become somebody else? So you can question that also. Otherwise, whatever you're understanding it, you better own it. Yes, I have understood something. That why don't you say that? Why do you have to say Pradeep has understood it? Pradeep is this. I feel you remain what you are, sir, till the moment you die. Why do people have to discard their identities? And why do they have to think that they have gone into some kind of different realm, sir? If you have gone into a different realm, that if it happened to you directly.
बता रहे हैं मेरे में एक आधी बात भी समझ जाऊं उसमें से तो बहुत होगा थोड़ा एक
No, sir, I have to say that different realm will explain something else to you, sir. That different realm जो है और किसी को और कोई चीज को explain करती है. That is not an end का वैसे मेरे को लगता है this journey का कोई end ही नहीं है. Only when you are exploring, understanding, learning, it keeps opening up to you. That's what he says. That's the endless river. Krishnamurti का statement है self knowledge is an endless river. लेकिन हम लोग क्या करते हैं? We have to have our comfort zone. We are so scared to come out of the comfort zone. We have to conform to that pattern of our living. I'm not saying that हमारा living बहुत ज्यादा होना चाहिए, but दिमाग में तो कम से कम खोल के रखना चाहिए ना. दिमाग में वो विंडो को हमेशा खोल के रखे. वो विंडो तभी खुलेगी तब आप अपनी अंडरस्टैंड पे डाउट करें. Is it really the understanding which I have arrived at, or am my mind is making some other trick? I feel, sir, that thought or our mind जो है इतना tricky है. It always it is a source of disillusionment in our life. वही असली disillusionment है. ये जगत माया मिथ्या वो सब जो है, or all Vedanta things we can bring to our own selves, and we can keep telling ourselves, and हम लोग अपनी हिसाब से कर सकते हैं. लेकिन real illusion is what happens in your mind. Your mind is creating all that illusion. Say, I will reach that stage. I can do this. That means the more you are explaining all these things, okay, everybody has the choice to live life. That is your life, your way of looking. But this is my way of that is my take on what Krishnamurti does to me. Because I feel if anything we have to doubt our own minds, our own answers. Is it really the answer? If that is the answer, then that becomes static in your mind. उधर से आप मूव ही नहीं करोगे, क्योंकि आप वही that is फिर आपको कोई एक्सप्लेन नहीं करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ता है. Okay, because अगर कोई अंडरस्टैंडिंग आई है, तो that understanding opens up into another layer of understanding. आपको उसको डिस्क्राइब करके एक्सप्लेन करके ये करने का जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ता है. Because you are all the time exploring, learning, listening. That window को open रखने से I feel more levels of understanding आने का संभावना है. So I hope my idea is not that good. That's all I have to say, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Durga ji. I'll just summarize what I have understood. I have understood that somehow I am not very open or something, not comfort zone mein hu or something. So Dubey ji, can you help me in summary what is exactly message so that I can receive it properly? What Durga ji has said, I am not very clear what she has said. Can you summarize it for me?
I think before I do that, let's hear what Harshad Bhai and Pradeep Verma ji has to say.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
May I say?
Harshad Bhai. Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Krishna ji sometimes says that people have partial insight, and Krishna ji is talking about total insight. Like some people have insight about certain things, and then they use it for management or some other organization work. They use the partial insight. So Krishna ji is talking about insight means looking at the thinking process itself, from where everything is coming, this ego or anger or fear. So the real insight, I would say, is not to be understood. It's not understanding, that word is not correct, but seeing whatever is arising, that I would call insight, in which there is not so much words are there, but whatever the words are coming are seen clearly. So that is one thing. And the other thing you said about the loss, that if you gain 50 rupees, you don't feel so happy. But if you lose 50 rupees, you feel very bad. Similarly, if somebody is praising you, maybe every day you don't feel much, but someday somebody criticizes you, then that treats you very much, So it it is good, I think, to get hurt sometimes and to look what is behind it. Why do I get hurt? Still, I have not really looked clearly. So it is a kind of a challenge if somebody is criticizing you and you feel bad about it. One has to look at it and learning. So learning goes on, as Durgaji says. Even Krishnaji had a difficult time talking with somebody. So that is okay. And yes, I have said enough. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Pradeep ji.
Yes, Verma ji.
Yes. Actually, I was the insight. Suddenly, this heat has picked up. Suddenly, there is a definitely good movement, and people are responding much more freely now. So, insight to me, this happens in timelessness only. To me, and it depends on the intensity of inquiry, questioning in me. You see, and this happens in almost all the fields. It's not that one insight will tell you or reveal everything about the life, total life. This happens in all the fields, psychological fields, biological fields, different fields depending on the inquiry. So this is what I have seen in life sciences all through my life. So insight is that, and timelessness and discovery. You can give any name afterwards. Innovation, this thing, that thing. It's a discovery, exploration, transformation. All these things come afterwards in your mind. This must be that he's talking about. So insight, inquiry, they are closely related. This I wanted to share, that's all. This is what I feel. If there is something wrong in it, Pradeep, you can.
No, what I've understood is you are saying that the timelessness is the space where all the insights occur, and whatever name you give afterward, transformation or other things. So real stuff is timelessness and insight. Is that?
I'm not talking of all the insight. There is no question of all or anything. It depends on the inquiry. You see,
Okay.
it depends on that. And suddenly it reveals that holistically it reveals, it's not usually pinpointing. The system, it tells you about the system, how this, my questioning is fits in the system I'm working with. So there is no question of all insights or single insight. This is usually related to my question and the intensity behind that and the passion behind that. This is what I feel. This is what I have experienced. Experiential learning, if you like. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Pradeep,
I fully agree with you that the intensity with which you are involved in anything, be it questioning about self or anything, that is what leads to, insights and something like that. Yeah, I fully agree with you. The intensity matters.
I think, Pradeep ji, just to add to what Verma ji has said, I think, in any field, whether it is scientific field or psychological field, when you gather that energy where you are able to see things as they are without the baggage of the past,
Correct.
then the response is totally coming from an unconditioned state. It's not a conditioned response. That is what we can call an insight. We know in the scientific field, you are as aware as I am, that people who had the basic knowledge of physics or medicine, they could suddenly there was a quantum jump in their understanding by getting deeper into it, because they had the energy to inquire. And that
Correct.
response which came out of that inquiry was totally
Very,
unconditioned.
very.
Similarly, in the psychological field, if
Mm,
you are really serious to know something about yourself, a
mm,
state comes where you are able to see that.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely. So basically,
yes, I'll just end up by saying, in the book Ending of Time, it's a dialogue between Krishna and Dr. David Bohm. Krishna explains that if you can create that space between the registration of a response and your own response to that registration, if you can create that space, then you can create an insight. And then David Bohm said, I agree with you, because I have seen that in the scientific matters. But is it possible to have that insight in everything that you have? Like you asked Dr. Pradeep Verma, and Krishna said, yes, it is possible. I don't know, because we have not experienced this, so we can't say whether that's true or not. But Krishna is on record saying that it's possible to have that insight in every field. We'll go to Durga Ji now. Yes, Durga Ji, please.
Hello. Yeah, I feel, very wonderful contribution, sir. Harshad ji, you explained it very well, sir. You said, it's okay to feel hurt. Hurt also teaches you so many things.
Yes.
That's a very valid point, sir. So, Pradeep ji, that's what I have, Pradeep Prakash ji, I have to say that. That means अगर आप पहले ही माइंड में एक चित्र बना दिया, मेरे को ये ड्रॉप करना है, ये नहीं होना चाहिए, वो नहीं होना चाहिए होने से, that means आप वो फीलिंग को जानने का आप he says, Krishna ji says, when you remain with that feeling and that feeling comes out with its own shades and colors, वो हम लोग वो फीलिंग में रहना ही नहीं चाहते, वो फीलिंग से हम लोग डर जाते हैं, डर के हम लोग सोचते नो दिस फीलिंग इज नॉट गुड, आई हैव टू ड्रॉप इट, आई हैव टू गो बैक टू इट, एंड यू फील बिकॉज यू आर डूइंग दैट, बिकॉज आप डरे हुए हैं, मेरे को हमेशा कंफर्टेबल रहना है, खुशी से रहना है, ये सब फीलिंग्स आते रहते हैं, इसको ड्रॉप करना है, एंड मैं ड्रॉप कर लेता हूँ, मैं खुशी से रहता हूँ. मे बी यू आर डूइंग दैट सर. सो ही सेज एवरी एक्सपीरियंस इज सॉरो जैसा आता है तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, भाग जाते हैं. He says remain with that feeling, remain with the sorrow. When you know how to remain with that will opens up and it will teach so many things to you. That is the new thing. इसको आप सीख सकते हो. ये नहीं कि आप सबको ड्रॉप करें, ये है ड्रॉप करें, मेरे को उसमें रहना है. आई फील अगर आप वो करने से आप कृष्ण जी का जो डेप्थ को है समझने के लिए हम कोशिश नहीं कर रहे. He says remain with the feeling. He never praises that you have to be happy, comfort zone. I mean, वो बताते ही नहीं है ना. So be open to life, be open to your feelings, emotions, whatever there, but you go through them. The thing is we don't want to go through them. The moment आप कुछ conceptualize कर लिया है, मेरे को ये समझ में आया है, ये है वो है करने से आप एक्सप्लोर ही नहीं किए हो, आपने उसको दिमाग में रख लिया है और आपने समझ लिया कि ऐसा सब करने से वो मैं ऐसा बन गया हूँ, ऐसा हूँ, मैं जिंदगी अच्छा चल रही है. मे बी यू थिंक दैट सर. आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू जज यू और एनीथिंग सर. may I want to tell you the difficulty will be there. So the thing is everything has to explain life में जो भी experience है, it comes with lot of कोई भी आता है तो maybe it tries to teach us some lesson to us, but we want to run away from that because हम लोग वो challenges को face करने का शक्ति नहीं होता है हमें, तो we want to run away, we want to suppress it, we want to put it under the carpet. ये भी हम करते होंगे sir, because that's our common nature, sir. So that's what I'm not an expert. Whatever I understood, whatever my understanding is there, that I'm sharing. And because ये सब चीजें भी like you have to see, am I deceiving myself? मैं एक समझ के मैं सचमुच के मैंने कुछ समझ में आया है मेरे को. अगर आप वो क्वेश्चन आप में आ जाती है, आपको वो डाउट आता है, देन आपको और कहीं जाने का जरूरत नहीं है. कृष्णमूर्ति का बुक्स इज सो वास्ट है. रीड योर कमेंट्रीज ऑफ लिविंग पढ़िए, एंडिंग ऑफ टाइम पढ़िए. आपको एक सेंटेंस जो है आपको दिमाग को ऐसा निचोड़ के रख लेती है तो आपको फिर देन आपको लगता है कि अरे ये तो मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया है, आई रियली अंडरस्टूड व्हाट डिड ही से दैट वे। लेकिन वो सब करने के लिए हमारा लाइफ में थोड़ा सा फ्रीडम भी हमको चाहिए होता है ना। हमको हमारा लाइफ में अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, हमारा लाइफ में कंप्लीटली वी आर सो बिजी एंड एंगेज विद सो मेनी थिंग्स, हम ये सब चीजों को समझने के लिए इतना टाइम नहीं दे पाते हैं। बात ये है कि यू हैव टू मिनिमाइज योर रिक्वायरमेंट्स इन योर लाइफ, उसको थोड़ा सा ऑर्डरली करे, और वहां पे भी आपको डिसाइड करना होता है व्हाट आर माय बेसिक नीड्स, उसमें रखूं, बिकॉज मेरे को ये सब चीजों में इंटरेस्टेड है, आई हैव टू गिव माय एनर्जी देयर, क्योंकि हमारे पास इतना एनर्जी नहीं है ऑल दो डेप्थ का पढ़ने का, समझने का, रीड एंडिंग ऑफ टाइम। वो तो आपको लगता है कि माय गॉड आई कैन नेवर अंडरस्टैंड दिस बुक, ऐसा लगता है, क्योंकि उसके लिए बहुत एनर्जी चाहिए होता है। अगर आपको दिमाग में 24 आवर्स दूसरे जैसे भरे पड़े हैं, योर फैमिली, डेफिनेटली वी ऑल हैव दैट, मनी कमाना है, फ्रेंड्स है, ये है वो है, लेकिन वहां पे आपको चॉप करते हुए, बिकॉज आपको इसमें इंटरेस्ट लगी है, यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, देन व्हाट हैपेंस, बाकी जो एक्टिविटीज आप में से अपने आप ही थोड़ा सा रिड्यूस होने लगता है। दैट इज ब्रिंगिंग ऑर्डर इन योर ओन लाइफ, आई फील सर। ऑर्डर को पहले लाइए, उसको एक सही करने से, so that you get more and more time to go into these things, sir. अगर आप थोड़ा समझने लगे तो definitely you are open to understanding
दुर्गा जी, जब
the more
हर्षद
of
जी
your availability to them.
दुर्गा जी, जब हर्षद जी इस वीडियो को दोबारा डालेंगे ना उस पे यूट्यूब पे, मैं 4-5 बार सुनूंगा आपने क्या बोला, क्योंकि मेरा दिमाग इतना काम
Oh my God.
दे रहे हैं। मैं
इतना
4-5 बार
मुश्किल है वो
सुनूंगा,
सारा सा।
तो बस सोचूंगा आपने क्या, उसकी समरी बनाऊंगा, फिर सोचूंगा।
Dubey sir, do you agree with whatever I say, sir? I hope I'm not saying all bunkum and rubbish, sir. Dubey
No,
sir.
I entirely agree with you. I entirely agree with you.
Sir, today I feel, sir, by opening up and by speaking in Hindi and all, we are
I
opening
was-
up and we are learning more, sir. Yes, sir.
I was going to comment that I
that means,
didn't know that you speak such a good English, just such a good Hindi. I never
oh,
knew
that's a
that.
compliment, sir. Our South Indian Hindi क्या सुंदर होता है, sir.
Oh, you are able to
Sushil Jain
you
तो
are able to
सबका
express
हिंदी तो बहुत शेर व शायरी सुननी है. Yes, sir.
you are able to express yourself so well in Hindi. That's remarkable. Thank you. Very good.
Oh, that's a compliment, sir. I taught all the time in North India, sir.
Oh,
वहाँ
that's
पे
why.
schools में, army schools में, the kids, they used to come from, some JCOs or NOAS का बच्चे, उनको हिंदी, English also you need to explain in Hindi. That's why my Hindi, otherwise initially I used to get so many criticisms, so much of comments from my other colleagues, what Hindi you speak and all. But slowly, हमने, I think, yes, sir.
That's good.
So,
Yes,
thank you so
yes.
much for the time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the time.
Yes,
Yes, sir,
Pradeep ji.
Yes. Just one sentence, because an insight, to me, an insight connects appropriately to the whole. Usually our knowledge, because everything is knowledge based, so usually as fragments are there, including myself and the so-called object or whatever it is. So it reconnects, it connects to the whole. What Pradeep was talking about, awakening of intelligence is all through there. We have to realize it is working all through. So that is what an insight does. Maybe a micro whole or macro whole, whatever it is, because you can't relate it to the cosmos as just straight through quantum mechanics and all that. So this connects beautifully to the system, to the whole, appropriately, without bothering about this dimension, that dimension, multidimensional. It fits in beautifully, and then system is revealed. Life is revealed as a system. Thank you. Thank you.
Ajay, sir, just a minute. I just
please.
have to appreciate what Pradeep ji is saying. Your contribution is very valuable, sir, today. What you said about insight and all these things are very nice. And just to also use, that means you're doing a lot of, inquiry, deep. अगर हम लोग जितना हम लोग उसमें साथते रहे, जितना हम लोग एक्सप्लोर करते रहे, उतना ही हम लोग का अंडरस्टैंडिंग कितना फाइन हो जाता है. And yours is a wonderful contribution, sir. Sorry, I didn't mention. I just want to say that, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
ये वर्मा जी आपके लिए बोल रही थी, मेरे लिए नहीं.
Yeah, but Pradeep Verma ji के लिए, yes.
I think we can come to the close of the session now. Pradeep Prakashji, thank you very much. You have brought in some really good insights one can strive to reach and see that in our daily life, because you made it very simple to look at, but it's not simple. And when we start living our life and looking at things. But as you rightly said, I think to start, one has to start from where one is and start looking at ourselves in everything that we do in our daily experience, in our daily living. That is the only way to realize what K is talking about or any traditional religion talks about. Thanks a lot for being with us today, and thank you for spending your time with us and giving us some really, really positive insight. Thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Dubey sir. Just one share for Pradeep ji.
Okay.
बड़े गौर से सुन रहा था तुमका जमाना, तुम ही रुक गए दास्ता कहते कहते। ये 30 मिनट में खत्म कर दिए, 45 मिनट कब बोले थे आपने?
चलिए, and next Sunday we have at 10 o'clock again Mr. Rajan Chandi from Rishi Valley School. He has not communicated his theme, but I think within a day or two I'll be getting the details about it, and I'll circulate to all the participants. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Modak sir, you can end it now.